So as we're starting this kind of thing today, I wanted it to be kind of informal. So if you guys have any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out, ask me, because I did want this to be a discussion. If you have any questions, I want to be able to help you guys out, answer things specifically. So what I wanted to cover today was 3 main parts of the hurricane, how to take care of it, and what, not just ZYPHYR as a hurricane insurance company, but what we're doing as an industry to help mitigate those catastrophic events like a hurricane. So I wanted to go into that as well. So really to start again, if you guys have any questions, you guys can reach out to me, ask me right now, or reach out to your insurance agent that you guys currently work with. Most of them are very well informed, and we work with a lot of them. So the 3 things that I wanted to start off is the before, during, and after a hurricane, what we can do. Being that you guys are on Kauai, I'm really gonna skip over a lot of the basic stuff that you guys already know, right? You guys know we have to go get certain things. We're supposed to, put up plywood, cover our windows, blah, blah, blah. I want to highlight certain things that have changed over the last few years that many people may not be aware of, right? We know we gotta have water. Right? We know that's important. But last year, the American Red Cross changed the amount of food and water that we're supposed to have. So prior to that, we were supposed to have 7 days of food and water per person in our family. Right? That's on average what you're going to need before FEMA comes down or whoever else comes down to give us assistance. Right? That's the national average, was 7 days. What the American Red Cross and really the Hawaii Red Cross realized was 7 days is not enough. First of all, it takes 7 days from a Matson container to get from California to Honolulu. That doesn't even include Honolulu to Kauai. So if it already takes 7 days from mainland to Oahu, and I only have 7 days of food and water, you can see where that problem starts to happen. So what American Red Cross changed it to was for 14 days of food and water per person. Now, 14 days of water, how much is that in cents? You're supposed to have a gallon of water per person per day, okay? That is for cooking, cleaning, eating, all of the above, right? That's what it is. And when I tell you 14 gallons, okay, that's doable, I can do that. I'm working with a few different companies to really put that into a visual perspective. The average family in Hawaii has 4 people, right? 4 people, mother, father, 2 kids. With that, if each person needs 14 gallons of water, that's 56 gallons of water for that family. That is 11 of those 5-gallon jugs. Now, to put that in perspective, that's a lot of water. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to emphasize that today, because that is pretty impressive amount of water. Most people don't have it and they don't realize it. They pick up 2 or 3 boxes of water for their family. That's enough for maybe 2 or 3 days. So I really wanted to emphasize that, because when I saw that, that made a huge impact not just on myself, but my family. I realized we weren't prepared. And let me be clear, I work for hurricane insurance and I wasn't prepared. I can only imagine everybody else. So again, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure I got out here and emphasized that, right? Another thing a lot of people forget to do for their emergency preparedness is emergency medical supplies. I'll have my regular things, my food, my water, my clothes, but a lot of people forget I take prescription drugs. Do I have extras for that? Am I prepared? Again, if something were to happen and you couldn't get your insulin for 14 days, what's going to happen then? Right? So again, we want to make sure we're prepared. Those are some of the things that a lot of people forget about. They take care of the basics, right? We all have a first aid kit. We do our food and water. But again, it's those little things that a lot of people forget. If you guys need more information, ZYPHYR Insurance, we have a great resource. We also partner with Red Cross as well to get more content, to make sure that we are up to date on all our information, because they get our information across the country, and we want to make sure that we provide the best, most up-to-date information for our people in Hawaii, because that's all we take care of is Hawaii. I'm born and raised. That's all I want to take care of. So that's one of the things I wanted to cover, at least before that hurricane. Okay? when we're talking about during a hurricane, we all know you want to stay safe, be protected. If they say evacuate, please follow their rules on evacuation. We saw what happened with Florence and with Michael on the mainland, how crazy it can be. So when they tell you evacuate, it's for a reason, right? But when we're evacuating, one of the things that, again, popped out to me as very important that a lot of people don't realize is walking and driving through water. With just a few inches of water, moving water, it can knock a full-grown man off his feet. Just a few inches. So we want to make sure if there's moving water, do not go into it, right? That is a huge thing, especially being on Kauai or any island. We know where's mountains, there's always water all over the place during a hurricane or any storm. Those kind of things are extremely dangerous. That's how most people die, is by those moving waters. So you definitely want to be prepared for those moving waters. So be careful for that, especially during a hurricane. So those are the two things that I really wanted to emphasize for before and during the hurricane. Again, being on Kauai, you guys have an intimate knowledge that most people don't have. So I don't want to highlight things and go over things that aren't necessary for you guys. I want to highlight the important things, the new things, the updated things, to make sure that we're up to date on all of that. Any questions so far? Yes?
Where is the best place to store water? I mean, I use the milk jar.
Mm-hmm.
The milk jar to store water, you know, to save 14 gallons. Don't take a lot of space. I don't know if that's the best place.
So the best place is your bathtub. Bathtub is a great place. What a lot of people do is they line their bathtub with plastic bags and things like that so it doesn't leak, and you can fill that up. That's not drinking water, but you can use it to boil, you can use it to wash yourself, flush your toilet, and that thing. That's less water that you have to store otherwise for drinking. So that's one of the best ways. That's what a lot of people do in terms of that. They also use big trash cans for, again, extra water, not for drinking, but you have a 55-gallon trash can, you can just fill the trash can with water and those kind of things. That's what a lot of people do. Great question. Anything else? So really the one I wanted to focus on today is what's to happen after a hurricane, right? There's all this preparation, everything online, everything on TV, everything you see on the news is all what to do before a hurricane. You see those guys putting up plywood boards. You see people taping up their windows. You see all of this, but no one knows what to do after. Here in Hawaii, we haven't had a serious hurricane since Iniki. That's been almost 30 years. So even most of your insurance agents haven't been through a hurricane. So it is very confusing on what do we do. So what we did when we started to figure out what, as we're building this out, let's look at our history. What happened with Iniki? So what we did was we spoke to a lot of different agencies. We came out here, talked to all the agents that were around during Iniki. What happened? What were your guys' difficulties during that time? And the biggest thing they had was, yeah, you know, someone would come into my office and we help them with their claim forms. And I talked to the insurance company. Oh yeah, absolutely, we'll take care of that. Can you email me that form? I can't turn on my computer, I have no power. Oh, okay, yeah, don't worry about it. Just print it and fax it to me. I have no power, I can't print. And the phone lines are down, I can't fax it. Right? So those are the kind of issues we're having. It's the communications. Right? If a client wanted to come in and pay a claim or ask for a claim, oh, let me print you out a claim form. Again, how am I going to print this out? So the first thing we noticed was power. So on all islands, we already have generators at certain insurance agencies ready to go. So they will be up and running immediately after the hurricane because we all need places to go. Obviously, I'm based on Oahu, but we have it set up on all neighbor islands already. Because again, that was one of the big things first, is that the power, right? And then if the person wants to come in and file a claim, hey, my roof blew off, how do I do this? Now, what we've done what we're doing is we're not sending an email batch, here's all the claim forms. We know a hurricane's coming a good week before it gets here. So 3 or 4 days before, our office, we're printing out all the claim forms and mailing them out. So now every island already has claim forms done. So that way when you come into the office of your agent, they can already start your paperwork, right? We know the check's not gonna come tomorrow, but if you know your agent has your information, you guys have peace of mind. You guys know the process is started. And that's what we wanted to focus on after. We know things are bad. Everyone's going through this. But we want to at least give you that peace of mind to know things are working. So we started with that, right? We have those forms already printed out, ready to go. Next thing is communications, right? That's the big thing. What do we do about that? So what we started on Oahu as our testing ground, it's working very well, and we'll take it to the neighbor islands, was communication. That's the biggest thing. So when something happens, obviously we know power goes down when a hurricane hits. So all cell phone towers, everything is gone. But most people don't know all of those things are connected to one fiber optic cable that's based underneath the water, that goes under the water from Honolulu Airport all the way to the mainland. That's where everything is connected. The government's telling me it's basically very hard to damage that because it's under the water. So as long as you have line of sight with the airport, you can get communications out. You can get data. So what we have set up at our office in downtown is we have line of sight to the airport. So we go up to our roof, we get line of sight, and now we can get a Wi-Fi hotspot at downtown. So everyone can come in and use that, get things to the mainland, email forms, whatever we need to. We also have sat phones up and running, ready to go. We're not going to use it to make long distance calls and all of that, but a minute here, hey, let your loved ones know you're safe. Give it to the next person. You know, again, peace of mind. We need your family members to know you're okay. And how are you going to get that? Again, when everything's down. Yeah, I charge my cell phone, my cell tower is down. Again, all of these things that we really don't think about, we take for granted. But when one system fails, like power, everything kind of falls with it. So how do we take care of that? So those are the kind of things that we've put into place based upon what we heard from Iniki and what we saw with Lane. Because when Lane came, we were all scared. It goes right up there before I made that sharp left. So I'm sure you guys were scared, I was scared, I had my windows all blocked up kind of thing. And it's what are we doing? And based on that, we saw people were filling out the claim forms. People were faxing them to us because they had their systems up and running. We had those claims on that Friday. We were filing claims, we were ready to go because our systems, we already had it in place. So we know it was working. So we're able to do those kind of things with that. As we built out all of these things, in addition to the structures that we put there, we needed to make sure that after you fill out that claim form, what happens next? Again, most people have never been through a hurricane. Most insurance agents haven't been through a hurricane. So what we do is we have claims readiness testing. We'll have a mock hurricane. Agent XYZ over here, we're going to go to their house and say, hey, a roof blew off. What do we do? So we will have our claim adjuster there. The agent will be there. We have a contractor there that's going to walk them through this whole process. It takes about 45 minutes, but we get a better understanding of what happens after the fact when it does happen. And then we give them the check, follow the money, make sure everything goes through. So those are the kind of things we want to make sure is prepared. And again, educate that agent to know what to do. The agent knows how to file auto claim. Why? Because they do that every single day. Everyone sees auto accidents, right? Same thing with fires on your home. But again, they don't do a hurricane claim. So it makes it very difficult. We want to make sure they are ready because when it does happen, it's not going to be one or two. They're going to get hundreds or thousands of claims. We want to make sure they're ready. So those are the things that not just us, we're working with the whole industry to make sure that everyone is up. Because a rising tide rises all boats, right? We want everyone to get better. And we're doing this because we are part of the community. We're the only ones, again, we cover only Hawaii. So this is our home kind of thing. So as we went through all of this, we wanted to make sure that we had these programs in place. A big thing that we learned with Lane, And not just Lane, but the floodings back in April. That was here, back in New Valley, back on Oahu. What happens in that? And that's where we were working with the governor, working with different insurance agencies to work on an education platform to get out to the people, because most people don't know the difference between their homeowners, their hurricane insurance, and flood insurance. What's the difference? Why do I need all three? Doesn't my homeowner cover it? Like, I have a home insurance to cover my home. Doesn't it cover my flood? Doesn't it cover a hurricane? No. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And what we're working on is getting out there so people do understand, can understand how they work. If you put it into layman's terms, real simply, the difference between homeowners and hurricane. Homeowners covers your home almost all the time except when there's a declared hurricane. Hurricane Aloha is coming, we declare a hurricane, your homeowner shuts off, your hurricane kicks in. As soon as the National Weather Service says, yes, we have a hurricane, there's a hurricane warning in Hawaii, your homeowner shuts off, your hurricane turns on. If you do not have a hurricane, your homeowner still shuts off. And that's where a lot of people don't realize. So a hurricane hits, you have no coverage. Okay? Does that make sense?
Is that a warning or a watch?
Both. We will cover both. So warning or watch, we will still cover it. All hurricanes will cover it. Your homeowners will still shut off hurricane or watch. Because the difference between a watch and a warning is just a timing difference. A warning is 36 hours out to 48 hours, I believe, and a hurricane warning is within 24 hours they expect a hurricane to hit. So that's just the difference. But once the watch comes first, once it's declared, your homeowner shuts off and your hurricane will kick in. Okay? Now the difference between all of that and flood, right? So all of the things that happened in April last year, that was rain. Rain comes down. What's the difference between rain and flood? The difference is flood is water that comes up from the ground. So it's water that runs. It's not rain that comes down through your window, through your leaky roof. It's groundwater. That's the definition. So anything that's from the ground. So if your neighbor busts a pipe, floods over, those things are flood damage, not water, not rain or anything like that. That's why in April, most claims got denied. So when that happened, what they realized, the ones that did have proper flood insurance, most flood insurance right now is through the federal government. NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program. They have a $250,000 limit, $250,000. Most of our homes are over $250,000. So that's the difference with flood insurance, and that's where a lot of people have those issues. And again, I just wanted to cover it, make sure people are aware of their flood insurance. There are ways to get higher. You can talk to your agent, but 95% of most people who have flood insurance are capped at $250,000. So there was a huge thing on the news on Oahu. I'm sure you guys had the same thing here. On Oahu, there was a guy that had flood insurance, capped at $250,000. His home was worth like $800,000, $900,000. The $200,000, $250,000 barely covered removal of the debris, kind of thing. So again, this is just something I want you guys to be aware of. I'm just trying to make sure people are educated to know the difference, and there are differences, and that's what we're wanting to make sure people understand. Yes.
Okay, NFIP, you just said is a federal program.
Correct.
So they're the only ones that actually will give flood insurance. Well, that you can get flood insurance.
No, there are other companies that do give flood insurance. Some of them can go higher than $250,000. Some of them are mirror that exactly and stop at $250,000. And I would talk to your agent to find out what you want to do, what's best for you, because each person is different, what they can and cannot do, and what is affordable to them. But it is possible to get up to whatever your limit, your $1 million house, they can cover that $1 million.
And the other thing is that the government every time has an extension on the flood insurance. I mean, every so many years is extend. I mean, is there any time in the near future that we will just see it with no extension every 6 months?
What they're looking to do is actually get out of the flood market. They lost 10, $20 billion last year. And this is our money, this is federal money, right? Based on Florence and Michael, those kind of things. And that's just that. So with that, they lose a lot of money on that. So they're trying to get out of it. The former insurance commissioner, Gordon Ito, he was pushing for all of Hawaii carriers to look into offering flood. Whether it's affordable or not is a different story, but he dictated everyone to look into flood because he knew how important it was. This was right after everything that happened in April. We had a meeting in, I want to say May or June, that he stood up all of us and told us, I want you guys to look into flood kind of programs. And the federal government has been looking to get out of it because it is losing money like crazy. So they'll extend it. Just to answer your question, they'll probably extend it until they get to the point where it's not affordable, or they get to the point where they actually get some private companies to buy in and start taking it over. I don't know when that's going to be. Good questions.
So the insurance FEMA is a private, is
FEMA is Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Is it dual insurance?
FEMA is a federal.
Dual insurance, this is what I have.
Oh, FEMA is actually a government agency that comes in after an emergency to help clean up and help rebuild the city.
But they have insurance?
No.
Flood insurance?
No. They are just an agency that the government sets up to come.
What do they help about when FEMA comes? Very long.
FEMA will come in and bring food and water. They'll try to bring in more generators.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what FEMA is there to do, to try to help everyone. Put them up in tents if you're displaced from your home. They're trying to just get everyone okay. If they need medical supplies, that's where FEMA comes in, because if something were to happen here, our infrastructure gets collapsed. So we need support from the federal government to help us. That's where FEMA comes in. They organize all of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Any other questions? These are great questions.
Yeah, okay, I have a question now. Back up.
Yes.
Back up. Reverse.
Yes.
Now, during the hurricane, okay, hurricane happens, you're devastated, you can't go through the roads. So how do we get to tell our agent, well, my house is, not till maybe several days or weeks or what before we can get to communicate with our agent?
Yes, and that's one of the hard things. It's going to be difficult to get there,
Yeah.
but our plan is, and all insurance agencies, our plans are to make sure when you do get to your agent, everything is already ready. We're also trying to help it get better. So you may not be able to make it to, say, your agent's office, but if we could have a hotspot set up closer to you so you could communicate, send an email, that's what we're trying to set up. So what I have is on Kauai, I believe I have 3 generators here. Big Island, I have, Oahu, Hilo and Kona side. So that way those agencies are ready. So even if it's not your agency, all agencies will start working together.
Our agency, like in town, they do it.
Mhm.
We live way out in the boondocks west side. Excuse me, boondocks. How do we get to communicate with our agent?
I have agencies set up in outside
West
in
side?
Pritzville and things like that as well. I'm not sure where you are, but we have things closer outside of Lihui as well. So that way you can get to them and they can communicate to your agent.
My telephone or what? Like I say, my telephone is still on the phone. And hi, help,
So if you can get to I will have an agency set up all over the islands. It won't be your agent, but another agency will be set up, and you can go there and they can communicate to your agent in Lihui and get everything set up. Because everyone's going to start working together. It's not just going to, again, if something were to happen, all insurance companies, all insurance agencies, we all become one. This is now, we all work on Kauai. We don't work for you.
We have to go to our agents, right? They're not going to go around there, okay, how you doing, right? They're not going out and say, how your house, Oh, no, my name's mine. I'm still standing up like it. No, see, like how we going to
It's
communicate until we've got to wait till we can before we can communicate with them to get through them?
Every agent will be in the event something like that happens, every agent on this island will help you out and get you in touch with your agent. That's the way it's set up, and that's the way Hawaii really works. I've seen that happen when things happen. Everyone will gather together and help you out from your side and communicate to your agent in Lihui. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, with Iniki, I was there, and it took a while.
Yes.
It took a while.
They didn't have communication set up. There wasn't power up and running. Those have all been taken care of.
So that's what, for me to go through it again, whoa, man, for real. And it was helpful that the military stepped in, National Guard, and they came up and put up a tarp over the roof and so on forth, and, helicopters flew over and said, oh, Kauai's so rich. Look at all the pools, that swimming pools they have is actually blue tarps over our roof.
Yes.
So, but things like that.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. We have systems in place now where, again, you may not get to your agent right away, but someone else will be there in your neighborhood and they will put you in touch with your agent. They will all be in touch. All agents will be in touch working together. Yes.
Okay.
That's the game plan that we have set up, and it's already in the process.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question. Kind of.
I hope it doesn't happen where
I hope we never have to use it. Absolutely.
like, he said, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah.
Deja vu.
I offer the best insurance I hope you never have to use. You had a question?
So do you guys, if this plan is that all the insurance companies work together, you must have in your management a comprehensive map that includes every single insurance agent office?
Yes.
So you know where they all are, and if there's one out on the west side in Waimea, or Hanapepe,
Yes.
or Kalaheo.
Yes. I mean, I don't work with every single insurance agency in the state, but I do work with, I have over 1,000 agents in Hawaii across the state. So 1,000, I'm sure there's some close to you.
She's not sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All I know is they're in Lihui and Lihui only.
Right.
Over there. Where I'm
Yes.
way over there, Hello. Yeah.
I mean, if I give specifics, I'm sure we can figure something out. But as of right now, the game plan is to make sure everyone is communicating, and we have the communication system up, which I believe is the most important. It's as long as they can communicate with each other and with the mainland, where things can get processed, everything should be a lot better. That was the biggest thing that I heard with Iniki, was there was no communication, there couldn't get anything done because the lines were down and there was no power. So with those two being the biggest issues, those are the first two things that we tackled as we're building out this new system.
Okay.
So would they helicopter people out if the roads are all shut down? There helicopter agents out to places and stuff?
Possibly, I'm not sure. When Lane happened, we flew in over 100 adjusters ready to file claims. Luckily, Lane passed, and 95 of them flew back.
Ahead of the time you flew in.
Yes. Because again, we know a week before if it's gonna come, so we can be a little bit more prepared now than we were before. So those are the things that we want to do whatever we can. Even if you don't need it. Hey, we printed out all the forms. I killed a couple trees. But you know what? If something were to happen, we were ready. And I believe that's important. And we wanted to make sure that if something happened, we could give peace of mind. Any other questions? Those are great questions, by the way.
That's what's for my part personally, because I'm not saying boondocks, I'm way out there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure out something. I can sit down with you after this and let's figure out what we can do.
maybe talk to my agent.
Yeah,
just to
absolutely.
see what's gonna happen,
Yeah, we can absolutely set something up.
Okay.
Yes.
So this might not be a relevant question, but so in this whole management process, has that caused you guys as the insurance companies to take another look at your buildings and your hurricane hideouts in preference? And in your building, do you have a hurricane safe?
Oh yes, we have a
employees to hide out in or something?
It's, yeah, we looked at that. We really don't have anything like that, but what we started to do was more seminars to educate people. And one of the things that I personally want to do, being a millennial, I like experiences. So one of the things we're doing is we're partnering up with some local companies on tinting and laminates over your glass. So how important is it to protect that glass door in case of a hurricane, things like that? So what they have is they can put a laminate tinting, it can be clear, over that door that will prevent things from 150, 180 miles an hour. And again, millennial, I want to experience it. Here, take a bat, go whack that window. So those are the kind of things that we're going to start doing so people can experience and see, hey, this is what I can do. And I can see, wait, 180 miles an hour, like you can't, that's not a concept people can understand. But if I give you a bat, try to take a swing, you know, oh, that held a lot, right? So that's the kind of things we're starting to do for ourselves. So we laminated our windows in our office and things like that to help protect ourselves. For myself, I put in new metal shutters over my balcony that literally I can shut down the whole thing and it's metal. So my balcony is perfectly safe. So I started doing different kind of things. I did that for Lane. I've only been with hurricane insurance for 9 months, so I'm a little bit behind. But those are the kind of things that we started to do as well, because we want to make sure that we're protected so we can, again, go out there and help people after. All right. So one thing that I wanted to touch on, Karen asked me to touch on it, was because of most people don't realize it, hurricane insurance, just like homeowners, is mandated by your mortgage. If you have a mortgage, the mortgage company says you have to have homeowners insurance. Because if a fire happens, they want to make sure they can get their money back. Same thing with hurricane. Being in Hawaii, your mortgage requires hurricane insurance. Once you have no mortgage, you pay it off, which I know a lot of people have, especially here on Kauai. You no longer are required to have a hurricane insurance. And what happens is, most people, if you have a mortgage, who's paying your homeowner's insurance? Your mortgage company. Who's paying your hurricane insurance? Your mortgage company. It comes right out of your mortgage. You just pay your mortgage. They pay for it all. So as soon as you pay off your mortgage, most times your hurricane policy gets canceled because your mortgage isn't paying it anymore. So a lot of people without a mortgage don't have hurricane insurance. They think they have it, especially here on Kauai, which is one thing I wanted to end on, make sure I emphasize that. If you paid off your mortgage, you may not have hurricane insurance even if you thought you did, because you had it the last 30 years of your mortgage. And it's just I thought I had it. I was paying it, right? So that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is if you don't have a mortgage, it's not required anymore. You don't have to have
I
it.
don't have a mortgage, but I do have insurance.
Oh, I appreciate it. And that's smart.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, that's why we have it.
Yes.
But it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know. So if you didn't know you paid off your mortgage, it got canceled, you just assume it still has it. So that's one of the things that, I wanted to emphasize and make sure everyone understood that, because it's something that a lot of people don't know. This is something my parents didn't know. And again, I'm looking at it, they paid off their mortgage a couple years ago. Oh yeah, I have ZYPHYR Insurance. No you don't. It was canceled 2 years ago. No, we have ZYPHYR Insurance. Again, my parents didn't know. So these are the kind of things that, again, we want to make sure that I can get out and educate the people to make sure that everyone is aware. Because again, we don't know what we don't know. So I wanted to get out there with that. Yes?
Okay, talk about homeowners only. What about tenants? Do you have insurance, like hurricane insurance for the tenants?
Yes. So how we can do it, it's
Good question.
great question. So homeowners and hurricane, there are 4 different types of coverages, A, B, C, and D. A covers your home. That's why it's A. Number 1, covers your home. B covers any detached structures. So say I have a second home, I have a cottage, I have a pool house, whatever it is, that's B. Okay? C is personal content. My living room, my TV, my furniture, those kind of things. And D is loss of use. my house got blown off, I have no roof. I have no place to live, now I gotta live in a hotel. Airbnb, that's where D comes in. So if you're a tenant, I don't need A or B because the landlord's paying for that. All I need is C, yeah, hopefully. All I need is C, maybe D. So we can do just that. So all I wanna do is cover my living room, my furniture, my clothes. All right, so you can go a lot less. You don't have to cover the whole house. And then vice versa, if you're a landlord, oh, that's not my interior, that's the tenant's. Just cover your house. You don't have to cover your interior. So you can pick and choose what you want to cover based on each individual's. And that's where your agent comes into play as being that person where they know your business, they know what you do, and they can give you that proper guidance. That's a great question. Yes.
How old is ZYPHYR Insurance?
ZYPHYR started in 2000. ZYPHYR started after, so after Iniki happened, most people don't know this, you might, all insurance companies, hurricane insurance companies, left the islands. They all dug out. So there were no insurance companies here in Hawaii for hurricane. So the government, the state government had to create an insurance company for hurricanes because mortgages still required hurricane insurance. So they created this Hawaii Hurricane Relief Fund, HHRF. So that took over all of those policies from 91, 92 until 2000, when the government decided they wanted to get out of insurance, just like they're trying to get out of flood insurance. But the state government wanted to get out, so what they did was ZYPHYR was created. So ZYPHYR was created as a private company to handle all of these insurance policies. That's where ZYPHYR was created. So we were born here in Hawaii. Locally, we're still the only locally run, managed insurance company here, and we only take care of Hawaii. So we've been around since 2000, and since then, more competitors have come back into the market. Now there's about 5, 6 different hurricane insurance companies locally. Yes. Yes, so this is our 19th year. Next year is our 20th anniversary.
Party.
Yes.
Well, that's good to know because I've never heard of really of you before ZYPHYR.
And that's part of it. That's why I wanted to get out here. We've been around forever. Most people in the industry know us, but they're not the ones that have our policies. It's everybody else.
Based in Oahu.
Based on Oahu, yes. So right in downtown. But again, one of my concerted efforts as I took over this my marketing job is neighbor island focus. So I've been on every neighbor island at least twice a month since I've been out here, working with the agencies, getting more, working with everybody, getting more advertising specifically focused on the neighbor islands to work in, I want to go to places our competitors cannot. And being that I'm a local boy, I can fly, I can talk pidgin with everybody, I can do whatever I like. So I can fly out to neighbor islands where we can do things and be more impactful than anybody else. So really the end thing I wanted to end on is the whole process that we put into place is not to get claims paid faster. There's only so much we can do. It's not to do anything other than give everyone peace of mind, right? At the end of the day, insurance is a piece of paper, right? That's what you're paying money. It's a piece of paper. It truly is a promise. And at the end of the day, that promise is peace of mind. That's why you buy insurance. That's what I want to make sure we provide at the end of the day, where we get your claim paid. Yeah, you're not going to get it tomorrow, but it's in the process. We're working on it. Everyone's working on it. That's what the whole focus on as we built this out, was to know you are taken care of. All right, anything else? Yes.
So back to flood and hurricane insurance and the flood being groundwater. So if there is like a storm surge because of the hurricane, an insurance company would say, no, that's flood insurance.
Correct. Storm surge is considered flood. Yes.
And then
That's why with Michael and, Florence had storm surges up to 12 feet in the Carolinas. So you have 12 feet of water. I mean, that's taller than the ceiling just basically coming across a couple miles inland of the Carolinas, and all of those were considered flood because it's not rain, it's groundwater. It comes up, and that's what came in. Those kind of things.
And so most insurance companies, you said, don't do flood insurance.
Most do not, correct. There's a lot that do. And that's why I recommend talking to your insurance agent, because what they do is they can price it out through a few different companies and find the flood insurance that you do want. And the reason why a lot of people don't get flood insurance is they're not in a flood zone. If you're in a flood zone, you're required to get flood insurance, just like hurricane, just like homeowners, if you're in a flood zone. If you're not in a flood zone, again, you're not required. But 99% of the people who got flood damage in April weren't in a flood zone. This is Hawaii. Water comes from everywhere. So we just gotta be prepared. Unless you live in a condo, I think you should have some flood insurance. But that's just one of those things.
But if you are in the flood zone, the insurance higher.
Yes, you're looking at about 3 to 4 times if you're not in a flood zone.
I was lucky because I was not,
Mhm.
but still, because
Yes.
I thought I was in the flood because some of my neighbor,
Mhm.
and she said, we're gonna check, maybe we have mistake because you are in the flood zone go higher.
Mhm. Yes.
But I was not.
Then great, yes. Perfect. Yeah, and flooding can be very confusing as well.
Yes.
So if you live on the second floor, are you still required for flood insurance?
No. You're not required to have flood insurance. Again, unless you're in a flood zone, and your mortgage will dictate that to you. Right from the start, they're gonna tell you, sign up for this, this, and this. They won't offer your mortgage without having that paperwork signed. We constantly have to do paperwork. Hey, my mortgage is closing tomorrow. I need to show them this before they give me my mortgage. So we have to show them that you have hurricane insurance before they offer the mortgage. So same thing, if you're in a flood zone, you have to show them you have flood coverage before they will sign your mortgage.
The other question
Yes.
is that you say the homeowner insurance will cover the personal content. Is that for everybody living there, including like the storage shed, including for the homeowner, for the tenants, or any family member?
It depends. It will depend on your insurance. It's some will, some won't, and it really depends. I'm sorry, I can't give you a better answer than that. It really just depends on what insurance you have, and who you're with, and your agent would give you that answer. Unfortunately, I can't because it could be both. Either way. Great questions. Anything else?
Oh, I'm glad I can because I
All right, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much.